Yeah, it just struck me one day that I can't keep on making snarky remarks about the way the professionals on YouTube play if I don't actually demonstrate what I'm talking about. And it seemed to me the best way to do it was to pull up the specific session, show it very clearly, and obviously give my millions of followers, all two or three of them, the opportunity to go and check out what I'm talking about and make sure that I'm not in some way misrepresenting what I'm describing as bad play. So that's what this is all about.
Okay, so I should have guessed in advance that I could count on Vegas Matt and his merry mob to give me a sample worth talking about. Excuse me. In this new series of he didn't have to lose, and in fact, of course, Matt this time did not lose. He went through quite a bit of hell in this latest session, but he sort of pitched a hail mary towards the end, went absolutely bonkers, and managed to get first of all a successful double down, and then two successive wins. So he came out a winner, which is great news. Doesn't happen often enough to poor old Vegas Matt. And remember, excuse me, he's the one who came out the end of 2024 with a very honest bit of information that they lost over 300,000. Actually, I think close to 400,000 last year. So thank goodness for Google revenue and other sources outside of gambling, which is a major overhead for them. I think the first thing to notice is that down here is the flat AV, or actual value, and this is derived simply from saying, okay, if you were betting the same amount throughout, then this is what would have happened to you. These are the number of units that you would have been down and up and down and up and down and up and so on. And then you look at the tracking for Vegas Matt, and you see that it almost exactly mirrors the flat AV. And this is entirely predictable for random betting, which is what Matt and his mob go in for. They're all over the place. They're emotional. They're sort of like, I don't know. They bet a very narrow spread as well. That's the other thing, of course. Is if you bet a really really tight spread, then you're going to get this kind of effect. And then the dark green line here is the pattern betting algorithm, which did not have nearly as dramatic a win. Let's see, what was it? It was about 1,600 compared to Matt's 5,000, but it was a win of 30.6%. Whereas, well, we'll get to a bit more about Matt in a moment, because that comes up on the next tab. But this is the AV sort of in blocks or bars, which looks pretty interesting, I think. I mean, there's a couple of useful turnaround opportunities here, which the pattern betting algorithm took advantage of. So there were one, two, three, four, five, six turnarounds. And a turnaround, of course, each time one of those occurs, then it takes the total win to date up a notch, up a notch, up a notch, each time. Not the same at all for Matt and his mob. Um, I'm having a slight problem here, because if I don't click on the worksheet, then it doesn't respond, which is perfectly fair and reasonable. Okay, Matt had one turnaround right here, which took him 1,500 ahead. And down here it shows him only 1,500 ahead at the end of the session. But that's because I don't mess with multiple bets. I don't believe in them. I'm not at all interested in them. I think it's a complete nonsense to put yourself at risk of losing 2 or 3 bets instead of one. Like, for instance, when the dealer gets a made hand, a 20 or a blackjack, and it just wipes you out completely. So it doesn't make sense to me. Vegas Matt doesn't spread to multiple hands very often, but in any event, I have included his win here. He split out, and he won each time. So his win goes to 5,000 because he won 3,500 down here twice, not just once as I show it. So his final win increases to 5,000, and that's an 11.1% win over action, which is great. His exposure was 5,000 because he got into trouble several times. So he got a 100% return on risk (ROR) there. The algorithm for pattern betting won 1,575 and had, as I showed you, 6 turnarounds along the way. Action of only 5,150. So the algorithm's return was nearly 31%. Exposure of only 750, and a return on risk, therefore, of 210%. And I know all of this stuff, all this number stuff, it just bores the shit out of most gamblers. I mean, I don't think even 1 in 1,000 are interested in this kind of thing. I'd be surprised if it was 2 in 10,000. But there we are. I have to just keep plodding along because this stuff really is relevant, I promise you. But if you got this far, you know that. If you haven't got this far, then you're never going to find out, are you? If you take pattern betting's result and you adjust it upwards to reflect Matt's action, you get a win of 13,800 versus his 5,000. So that's basically what that's about. It doesn't mean that much, I guess. Going back up, here you see, as I said before, you see that his action up and down, is pretty much a mirror image of this. Whereas, yes, pattern betting dipped here to 750 down at what was the lowest point for Matt as well. But then pattern betting recovered, and then it just plodded merrily on until it got to a final win up here. Another thing I want to deal with while I've got your attention, if I do, is the old thing about average win value over average loss value. Up here, you can see a house advantage. I'm sorry about all the coughing and spluttering, but what can I tell you? A house advantage of 1.35%, which is about right for Baccarat. It's about, that's probably about twice what you would expect for blackjack, except when Matt's playing and he seems to encounter some really shitty, But anyway, let's change this to, if it's equal value, 100, 100, and it's in pounds here. I apologize for that. It's in pounds there, and it should be in dollars. So let me fix that. The default, obviously, on the spreadsheets is pounds because I'm in pound land, but that's how it goes. Okay, so if we go up to 105%, we see an improvement, right? We get a hold of 1.09 or 1.1% instead of a loss of minus 1.35%. Take it to 110, and we see a further improvement. 120. My target is always 125. So that's 9.8%. And that's actually pretty much the level of hold that I see on very large samples. Excuse me, time and again. And one of these days I'll get my croaking and barking and coughing and spluttering under control. Probably not this winter though. But anyway, there you have it. Make of it as what you will, as I always say. And thank you for watching. Yeah, a point I really want to make here, and I almost forgot, was that the tracking here, with the light green and the red below, demonstrates a point that I've been making for years and years, and people can believe it or not. But random betting is always going to end up with something pretty much like this, but not usually as dramatically similar as Vegas Matt has achieved, because he bets almost robotically and almost as if he's following a script written by the casino. He gets he does all the right things. He gets frustrated and emotional and a little bit mad, and he tilts a bit now and then, and he does all of the things that the casinos want all of us to do all the time in order to keep their coffers clanking with money coming in by the bucket load or truckload or whatever. But this is a particularly dramatic example, and I should have made more of it a moment ago. It's just weird to see this kind of thing. It's just it's entirely predictable, but on the other hand, it's a bit shocking to see it, to me, because it's just so unnecessary. There's no sense in behaving this way unless you're doing it on behalf of the casinos to sort of put on a show which will bring people in. Obviously, he's not doing it to make money, because he doesn't make money. We've established that. Somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000 in the toilet last year. So it's just a bit hard to know. But I think that folks out there who do care about the numbers need to keep one thing in mind. Don't bet like the professionals, the professional gamblers online, like Vegas Matt and Mr. Handpay and Brandon and Bobby and the others. I mean, I'm sure they're all lovely people, but what they're doing isn't lovely. What they're doing is they're sort of like they're just following the casino script. They are, they're front of house men for the casino industry, and that ain't illegal. And it's I don't know about whether or not it's moral, but it's certainly not illegal. And as long as we, all of us, rush to casinos to give them more and more and more of our money, nothing's going to change. And maybe people don't want it to change. It's just one of those things. It's part of life. And when gambling was just a small part of life, where, you would sort of think to yourself, oh boy, it's the big race day today, so I'm going to put a bet down. Or, I really fancy this horse because I saw it on TV and whatever, so I'm going to put some money down. But that's not how it is now. Betting is part of so many people's lives on a not just daily basis, but hour by hour, and in many cases minute by minute. So there is a kind of a cancer here that we all need to be aware of, and we shouldn't pretend that gambling is harmless. And the thing that always makes me laugh is when they talk about problem gambling. Anybody who gambles has a problem. And unfortunately, usually it's not just their problem. It's also a problem for their families, for their wives, for their kids, for their creditors, for their whatever, But it's not about a moral judgment here so much as simply saying, are we mad? And you look at Vegas Matt and his crew, and you see a bunch of people who are totally engaged, totally involved in gambling, while losing hundreds of thousands a year. And this is presented to us as being entertainment. I mean, what a weird world, right?